another YouTube video, and in this video we're going to be talking about everything that you could do to improve your potential on game day and actually perform well, right? Because ultimately, after hundreds of scrims, no matter how much you've practiced, if you don't perform on the day of and you don't qualify to the next round, none of it matters, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. They think that scrims is all you need, right? They think that practice is all you need. Practice is a component of what you need, and the other component is the mental preparation that you actually need before you go on stage, right, to perform. And so what you need past that, and you're probably expecting me to say this, but sleep and diet are obviously of utmost importance, and I'm gonna very quickly go over it because you probably know enough about it already, and you probably know what I'm about to say. 7 to 9 hours of sleep and a proper diet. And you know, proper diet is different for each person. Some people like caffeine, some people don't like caffeine. Just in general, you understand what's healthy, what's not healthy. Like, eat bananas instead of ice cream. Like I don't know, it's pretty self-explanatory. I feel like deep down you guys know what's good, what's not good, and if you don't, trust me, there's a bunch of resources online. Go search up YouTube videos of like what you should eat before a sports day, for example, or what you should eat before like performance, right? Any of that should be very easy to come by. Like, so I'm not going to be talking about that. I don't think I should talk about that, the very generic answers. Let's talk about what I actually feel like I know based off of my own experience, like straight up, right? In terms of mental, it is so important you prepare yourself properly. And so the first thing that you should do, in my personal opinion, is positive visualization, right? And this is ultimately what's going to determine how confident you are in actual performance, right? And so I always like to think of confidence in terms of how good you actually are, but that's not applicable to everyone. So let's talk about what you can do past that, right? The first thing you can do past that is actually understand that genuinely, no matter what your skill level is, everyone has a chance at qualifying, right? So the first step is actually believing that you can qualify. The second step, this is more actionable, is to visualize yourself getting the result that you want. And notice that, like I said that very specifically for a reason. Visualize yourself getting the result that you want. Notice how I didn't say how you get that result, right? I didn't say anything about that because you don't want to visualize anything about how, because if you don't get that exact route, like I'll give you an example. If you feel the how is doing well game 1, doing well game 2, doing well game 3, and actually perhaps even like winning game 1 and game 2 to have a really good head start, having that expectation is exactly what's going to make you tilted. I've said this in a previous video, and I feel like you shouldn't have those expectations. You should just have the result, and in this specific case, it's just qualifying for the next round, and that's it. You shouldn't have a result of top 10. You shouldn't have a result of anything specific like that. You can, you know, strive for it, and by all means, like, you should strive for good things like that, but absolutely just expect that you're going to guaranteed qual and do everything in terms of in-game performance to get there. And what I mean by that is focus all your energy in terms of actually making high quality decisions in game, and that should be everything you focus on. Like, when you're playing, you should not have any sort of focus outside your monitor. You should be super hyper focused in terms of making good high quality decisions consistently across the span of 3 hours. And if you can do that, then you will have reached your highest potential, and whatever that may be. And I honestly believe everyone watching this video can make round 3, make round 4. Like, you guys can do it. There have been so many examples of people in solo cash cups, complete no names, making money. So why can't you do it, right? Genuinely believe that you can actually do it, because if you don't believe that you can do it, then why would you try? Because logically that makes sense, right? Because if I think that something is impossible, like if I truly believe that I can't reach Pluto, why would I try, right? Like, that's how it works. So you genuinely need to believe that it is possible for you to actually qualify for the next round. A lot of people go into the tournament believing that they can't do it. Like, they're just trying, but they don't think they're going to do it, right? They don't think it's even likely. It's actually very difficult to try your hardest in that specific case. So I really want you guys to believe that you can do it, right? And so that's the first thing. The second thing, in my personal opinion, is to be warmed up listening to music that you like, because ultimately listening to a good playlist or a good song that is very upbeat, very uplifting, and actually gets you hyped up is a very good way to unleash some energy that you didn't even know that was there, right? So really listen to songs that you like in terms of really hype music. If you want to listen to relaxing music, do it by all means. Don't listen to music that's going to make you fall asleep, because then, you know, you're just not going to be energized for the tournament. So definitely listen to some uplifting, upbeat music. I feel like that's something that's really important. important, but more importantly, listen to music that you like. And I feel like that gives you more energy than anything else. So try that. Another thing you could do is to be super hyper focused in the short term, but long term understand that the tournament doesn't really matter. If you truly have a goal of going pro, one tournament does not define your likelihood of going pro. Truthfully, like there have been so many pros who have failed FNCS after FNCS, and then one FNCS they make it. So it does not specifically have to be this FNCS, and hopefully that takes some stress off your shoulders in terms of your chances for qualifying. Because if you're so stressed that you believe that it has to be this FNCS where you qualify, then it's very difficult to actually perform well, because the anxiety levels are so high. You should not be that anxious. Yes, you should have some tension there where you're trying to do your best. You have some sort of pressure pushing you forward to actually do well in this game, but you shouldn't specifically care like it has to be this one, right? Yes, you know, when you're playing in the game, when you're playing the tournament, you're super focused, you're super caring of the fact that like you want to just make the next best decision. That's exactly what you should be doing, right? Like don't be so focused on like, oh my god, what are we gonna do next game? Like what are we gonna do in like the moving zone after? Like focus on exactly what's happening in that moment. What is the best decision you can make in that specific moment, and that's it. And that's all you should care about, right? And I feel like that's what everyone should care about. Ultimately, a lot of people think too long term. They're like, oh my god, if I don't qualify for this, then my parents are gonna not let me play, and then this and that and this, and like it's just a lot of pressure. And I feel like if you can let go of some of that pressure, you'll ultimately perform better. Because I feel like too many people are way too stressed. You'll accept what I'm saying when you realize that most people who place in solo cash cups, as an example, are people who genuinely don't care. They just play and they don't actually care about the result. They just do their best, right? And it's so like if they don't do well, they're fine, and if they do well, they're also fine. Like, and so that's the sort of area I feel like most people should be in, because it is proven over a lot of examples where most people genuinely perform better. They perform way better if they don't care. Like they just play. And you should have that sort of feeling. You shouldn't be so stressed that you're anxious, because anxiousness is not a good place to be for performance. I feel like that much is obvious, right? Tension and sort of some pressure is good, right? But you should not be anxious. Being anxious is a good way to not perform. So definitely make sure you're focused on what you need to do. Focus on what needs to be done in order to qualify, and not the fact that you're not close to qualifying. Like if you're not close to qualifying and you have like say like 3 games left to get 100 points, focus on what you need to do to get 100 points in 3 games. That's it. Like that's all you should be focused on. Don't care about the fact that it's 100 points and 3 games and that's really low likelihood and low percent chance. Like the amount of times I've watched esports and seen so many low likelihood things happen, like people making comebacks and people doing some crazy stuff to actually win a game, is like it happens so often, it's crazy. And so because it's possible, you should first believe that it's possible and then work towards it and focus on everything that you need to do to actually make it happen, instead of being focused on, oh my god, it's so unlikely, I have a 2% chance of qualifying now, my teammate threw, and like now I can't be a pro. Like that's a great mentality for actually throwing your esports career, because you just don't believe that you can perform well when it actually comes down to it. So focus on everything that you need to do in the moment. That's all you should care about as a pro, as a professional, right? And you know, while we're on the topic, you should actually pretend that you're an esports professional starting now. Like that's how you become one, right? If you don't start acting like a professional now, why would you ever become one randomly? Like why would you magically start being a professional? Like Noah really, everything he's done before he was a pro was things that a pro would have done. Practiced for long hours, been super disciplined in terms of mechanics, and been practicing constantly, and all of these things in terms of performance. And you know, there's documentaries on YouTube that talk about Noah really and what he's done, so it's pretty obvious that his behavior patterns before he even has his first earnings was like very close to what an esports pro should be doing. And so that's what I think you should be doing. Like focus on your performance, have a good mentality, stop focusing on the likelihood of what's going to happen, and focus on what needs to be done instead, because ultimately that's all you should care about. Because being a pro is all about execution. It's not about the analytics or the numbers of the percent likelihood that you're going to qualify. Like that genuinely doesn't matter, right? If you're being paid a salary by an organization, do you think that they're going to be caring about like how low likelihood it was? They genuinely want you to try your absolute best, your 100%, or die trying, and that's what they pay you for, right? As an esports professional. And if you don't want to do that, then don't be a pro. Do something else, right? Otherwise, if that is your dream, then you absolutely will perform, you will execute, and you should be focused on that. Ultimately, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I feel like I covered a lot of points here, but just to sort of summarize, imagine that you will qualify. Imagine the positive result that's going to happen, right? be super hyper focused in the short term, but long term understand that this FNCS actually doesn't matter, so that should relieve some stress from you. And be warmed up, right? Crank a little bit, listening to good music that you like, because that will give you energy. Get some good sleep, eat well, and believe that you can do it. Ultimately, that's going to be the number one thing, and focus on your execution more than what's, you know, likely to happen or whatever. Like, so many people think that like the game's done if you need 50 points in 2 or 100 points in 3. Like, you're focused on the wrong thing if you're thinking that way, honestly. And I feel like that's absolutely the wrong way to do it. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Hope you guys qualify for the FNCS in the future rounds. If you don't do well in qualifier 1, that's okay. There's qualifier 2, qualifier 3. You need to be focused on execution in that alone, and I can't keep repeating that enough, because it is so important as a esports pro that you actually just focus on that alone. Don't care about what the likelihood is. Focus on execution, and I promise you it'll pay off in the long term. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully it helps, and I will see you guys in the next one.